Let's talk tourism.
Jennifer Perez is one of Costa Rica's best-known tourism industry marketers. She has more than 20 years of wide industry experience, starting in Hotel Diez Caletas way back in the day. She's also been in travel sales at Swiss Travel, CentralAmerica.com, and others. She's had an interesting journey from Costa Rica to New York and back again. And now I believe her tourism promotion business is just over 10 years old. She also happens to be one of the nicest people that I know in the whole industry. Jennifer, let's talk tourism.
Hey, Casey. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for showing up. Appreciate it. First question, how did you get your start? How did you fall into tourism? How did you end up in this industry?
Well, actually, after I started in college, I went in to study medicine for about a year and a half. Figured out that's not what I wanted to do. And since I was a native English speaker, I decided to go into tourism. So I studied for tourism.
What year was
and
that?
Administration for hotels.
And what year was that?
You want me to say that?
Oh, all right. Don't want you to date yourself.
No,
Is this the 90s?
Age on me.
Is this the 90s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And am I right to say your first gig was at Caletas?
No, actually, my first job was at Swiss Travel.
Okay.
And I started on the DM side.
Okay.
And I was a counter for them at a hotel, for the Gariari Hotel. Then I worked at the Intercontinental. I did a little bit of hospitality for the cruise ship desk. And, I started there. Then I shifted into CentralAmerica.com, which was completely different. This was more a B2C business and
Really?
everything
Maybe.
online.
Dare we say maybe the first significant online travel agency here?
I would say they were the first, actually. It used to be called TravelNet.com.
Yeah.
And then they shipped into CentralAmerica.com. But before that, I'm sorry, I forgot the timeline of this. I worked for Vida Caletas for about maybe a year and a half or two with assisting the sales director. Then I went back into the agency, a different model of agency, and more into B2C. And first, as you said, agency doing online business here in Costa Rica. I was with them for perhaps 5.5 years. And then I moved into VacationCity.com, which became the second agency, strongest in sales online. So I was sales director for them for 5 years as well. And then after that, I had my child and I decided to go into sales and marketing for hotels. I've done tour operators, also a local domestic airline, restaurants. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything in that term. My first client was actually Jacamar, which I still rep.
Wow.
Almost 12 years later. And
Jacamar is a transportation and tour company?
Yes, it's a tour operator for transportation and tours. And Humberto had started in Arenal, which he's the owner. And then he opened Guanacaste. And now he also is operating on the Central Pacific Coast. So yeah, and I've been with them for almost 12 years now, I think.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been a long journey. First hotel was actually Rio Celeste Hideaway.
Oh, neat.
And after that, Najara for 5 years as well. I worked with Cala Luna. So I've done a lot of luxury hotels, but I have to say Najara was like my really first experience, and it was a very nice experience because Leo had just gone into the industry and as a partner, with the hotel, with the previous owners, and we kind of developed a lot of things together. So I have Najada in my heart, Rio Celeste as well. I opened that hotel. Cala Luna had shut down also for perhaps, I don't know, 5 years when we reopened it, remodeled it completely. So, every time I've been working with these hotels, it's been quite a challenge, and it's been a very much developing it and, taking it towards becoming a top luxury property and very unique in its concept, having that signature on it where that it makes it completely different from everything else in the area.
The last time I talked to you, I learned a few things that I really didn't know about how your company operates. It sounds to me like, in addition to what people traditionally think of as marketing, promotion, you're working a lot with some of these, particularly first-time hoteliers, about the first P of marketing, which is product, right? So you're helping them design and determine some experiential stuff about the product itself.
Yes, and that is actually where my passion is and what I
Okay.
do. I truly believe that you have to design to sell. And, one of the projects that I currently have, which is Amor Arenal in the Arenal area, hired me 2 years before construction. And, we were involved in developing a concept of something completely different. Why build what the same of the same, what you have in the area? Why develop a project? It doesn't have to be a hotel, it could be a tour, it could be anything, but it does have to be something different where that you find that there's a niche for that and that you can really, develop a very good business on that. So yeah, it's been more about that. Most of my clients have not been in the travel industry. Um, and that has also been a little bit of a challenge, where that you have to go with them through all the process of how things are done, starting from your B2B development and your B2C, looking at all the different channels, really getting the word out there of where that you are different from everyone else, what makes you unique, what makes you special, what kind of target is what you have at the hotel, what you can offer. So it's also been a challenge from that point of view, because I think, the travel industry is different from other business. And here in Costa Rica with the DMCs, it's more about, like Ticos aren't, like, you're friends first and then you go into business, and it's just part of that relationship that you develop, So I think foreigners do not have that, their business is business and that's it. And where that you have to tell them, they would ask, like, why do I have to invite all these people to stay at my hotel, feed them and everything? And you have to explain why, how the industry works. It's part of first the experience of the product, and then they will sell the product. But it is maybe challenging when people have not been in the travel industry.
For those who are first timers, what's the biggest misconception that you've got or perhaps assumption they have that you need to dispel?
I don't know. I think that maybe what I was mentioning, how you develop business around it, and why it is important to cover all the different channels of sales that there are and how they're completely different one from the other. The B2B branch is completely different from the online, and it's so diverse, I think, and that's where that it may become for them like, a little bit of difficulty to understand why it's not a straight line of business. You have to cater business in a different way for B2B, and for the online public or channels, you have to do it completely different. So I think that's where that it's been maybe challenging for them. And then, getting to know the culture here in Costa Rica and working with Costa Ricans, it's also, I think, part of what is challenging for them as well.
Your background is unique in that you spent time in Costa Rica, a lot of time growing up in the US, back to Costa Rica, back to the US again. I'm assuming that's given you some unique perspective or perhaps appreciation for what makes Costa Rica special that maybe some native Costa Ricans don't have. When you've been going back and
Completely.
forth, yeah, I mean, what is it that you see that maybe other people don't?
I've had the option to go and work in the US, to go back to the US. It's something I really never considered doing because I think, Costa Rica is so amazing in so many ways. And most of the time when I'm doing site inspections or travel agents are visiting, they can always catch that I was, my English is very good and where are you from? And I always tell them I'm Costa Rican. I was born in the US, yes, but my parents are from here. And I pride myself because I think that, it's so amazing to listen to everyone, even our guests, like, how they appreciate the country, the cultural. They're always saying, like, you guys are so nice, and that really stands aside. And I work with a lot of properties that are also very sustainable. So you get to share that, there's a huge appreciation to what this little piece of land offers and how diverse it is as well. You can come to Costa Rica 4 times and do something completely different every time. And that also makes it, I think, as a destination, very, very unique. So yeah, I appreciate very much with what I do, my job, to have both worlds, I think.
You've been in the industry for over 20 years. You've seen tons of change. What has changed the most? And what do you hope never changes?
Well, I think, my area is, of course, sales and marketing. So from the sales and marketing point of view, it's so amazing to see how technology has stepped in, and how tourism nowadays is done completely different. And now with the pandemic, you continue to see all that change, going into shifting from trade shows where you would be present there to virtual trade shows. And, what I think in all these years really stands out is how technology has come into and people, how they decide where to go. Before I think they would decide based on the accommodations, the hotel, how nice the hotel was. Nowadays, travelers are more into what can I do when I'm there. They're more into the experience of just being there. And that experience has to go through also to the room, to the hotel. Everything is now about the experience. And I think that is what I would say that has changed the most. Now, what I would say I hope never changes is still having all these remote, beautiful areas in Costa Rica where they're still untouched, not so developed. I think that is something we should definitely cherish, areas, even like Manuel Antonio, it's very developed still, but you don't find all-inclusive hotels there, the chain hotels. There's a lot of local restaurants, and that I think is what we should always still have here in Costa Rica.
And it's certainly what's at risk, even at this moment, post-pandemic. You mentioned a little bit about trends and traveler preferences. Do you see any clear trends, new trends or changes in how travel consumers are behaving post-pandemic?
Yes, I've been participating in several trade shows, and also, I joined with my sales teams and reservation departments. People are asking a lot about, social distancing, open space areas. I think Costa Rica has a great opportunity now more than ever, to be that outdoor destination. And Costa Rica, I think, also has a lot of cheap luxury hotels, and you can see how people are shifting from those big resorts, chain resorts like Four Seasons,
Mhm.
into small properties. And also into areas where that there's not so much development, I think. So there is a trend, and they're really also looking into Costa Rica because of all those outdoor activities that they can do. And these boutique hotels will guarantee not massive tourism during their stay. And, there's a lot of vacation rentals and houses. So I think Costa Rica has a great opportunity right now. And those are like the main questions, like what are you doing as a protocol for safety and health? And I think communication right now plays a huge role in getting those customers in.
What do you see in Costa Rica, perhaps too expansive a question, or in Costa Rica tourism that you do hope changes? What do you think we need to do better or differently?
I think we have to work more as a community, as the travel community. I think that is something in general, at this point, I'm still getting some cancellations. And, I always say, like, where are we joining up and trying to have one policy, as a group, as a country for cancellations, have flexible pricing, where that we can still, we have to work together. I think that's where we need to improve, definitely. And it's just like a little bit all over the place, everyone's trying to struggle and survive the situation in their own way. But I think if we were able to join up and do it as a group and even coach, like our travelers in terms of how to make the best decision and why we are an excellent option for them.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. I mean, up to now, you, me, plenty of our colleagues have had this discussion. It's amazing at how we didn't realize until this crisis that we're still a very immature industry. And like a lot of businesses, a lot of people, I think we're being forced to grow up really fast through this. And I certainly hope that before we have another crisis, we're much more prepared and operating like a more mature industry. Last question, and I'm sure you've gotten this plenty from your friends back in the US. What's Pura Vida?
What's Pura Vida?
Yeah, what is it?
I think Pura Vida is just that term that says that everything's good. Like Pura Vida is gratitude, it's the good life. And I think Costa Ricans really stand up to that word. and it's just use that term to say that everything's good, like it's gratitude. I think it's that essence of having a pure life, which is translation of the word. So yes, that's what Pura Vida means to me, and that's what I normally explain.
All right, I lied. Postscript, one extra question. For most of us in this industry, this has been the Great Recession or even Great Depression in tourism. But there certainly have been some interesting lessons and some positives. Have you had any moments of enlightenment, or has anything really great come out of this for you? Surprise, silver lining?
Yes, and I think for most of us, it's been a pause. We are normally so catched up in so many things that you don't have that pause to really go back and do things better. And I think, besides, what we've been hurting in our finances and everything, it's also given us a chance to go back and improve ourselves, make a better version of what we are. And I think that at the end is going to be very positive for everyone in the industry. I'm not just talking about me, I think for everyone. And when we talk to other company owners and everything, you know, they're always saying, you know, it's been a chance for us to do things that we never had a chance to do before, or to try to develop something new and better. So
Yeah.
I think from my personal perspective, it's given me a chance to do a lot more of what I was doing before, and, you know, go into different areas. So yeah, it's been I think positive.
Great.
What's happening.
Great. Yeah, I mean, something great has to emerge from this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, listen, I always enjoy speaking with you. Always enjoy doing business with you. Thank you so much for your time, and let's talk again soon.
Yes, Casey, thank you for having me again, and thank you for the conversation.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Take care.
Let's talk tourism.